All this you know, I need to be like, I'm listening there for life. Listen there for life. I'm gonna get for life. So listen there. No matter what, people will play for you. I mean, for the Lord. The world is how much privilege we got souls, but I got this. You want we got this. We can't forgive for me, but let it in the so in the Lord, so please forgive me for the times that I keep on embracing this. I don't expect you don't bring on because you didn't take this Lord me trying to bring up with the bad. They said every minute, I'm crying for my house. The devil was a transfer. But they don't get it out the day that you fight. We say that give death to a priest. You obey it out in front of you. You make sure you got the heart to your things. We cry and it gets to the heart. So how you feel about this? The show is like the thing, I should have rolled out. Even though I make sure violation till I'm tucked away like George. The mason, we like fuck them, So it says she really says she wanna let that go. But if I please to my face, so how you feel like you shoot by the I should fall, leave your home. You better keep it on.
Shalom. Go ahead, type any questions you have in the chat. Go ahead, right into it. The third woe coming quickly. The third woe. It's the sign of the times. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world today. Going down. Go ahead and get it. Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. It reads, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe coming quickly. That's what's going to happen. We all know the word woe means destruction. That's what the word woe means. When it says the second woe or the second destruction is past, it's talking about World War II. And behold, the third woe coming quickly. The third destruction is going to come fast. It's going to be something you least expect. Let me see. I don't know. Okay. Play some audio from my phone. Let me see if I can play it from my phone. Flags. Open the flag. Play a couple minutes of this tape right here. Let's see how it goes. If you can hear it clearly, type 1 in the chat. If not, let me know. Type 2. This is a clip from the podcast by Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is a famous entertainer, comedian, television show host, UFC host, And now he's been known for his podcast where he's had millions of views, millions of dollars made. He recently got a contract with Spotify for, I believe, about $100 million, right? And this is his mind state about the world and where it's going right now. How he feels about the world.
Freaking out over the last few weeks, like at nighttime. At nighttime, I'll be alone, and I just start thinking about the future of the world. And I started legit freaking out. Like, what would happen if we were like legit Armageddon, Mad Max, nuclear world? How far are we away from that? And it just give me anxiety. Fuck. Like, how does this all resolve? And then it's fucking Israel pops up now. Shit, freaked out.
I've been definitely buying a lot of stuff lately for my.
So first, the devil is saying that before this Israel thing popped off, he was going to sleep freaking out at night, paranoid, like, what if we do go into an all-out world war? What's going to happen? Some Armageddon, Mad Max, if anybody knows the movie Mad Max, my first introduction to the movie was a Tupac video, California Love. I just thought it was a wild, crazy video where they riding through the desert. I didn't know until I got older they had stole the whole concept from the movie Mad Max. And Mad Max was in a post-apocalyptic world, meaning after some great tragedy destroyed the whole world and society as we know it, people had to rebuild it, and the way they rebuilt it was in a wild, wild west, animalistic fashion, all right? And he's saying, this is what's going to happen. This is what's coming to the world. Keep going.
House, like end of the world shit. Like I'm getting Tesla solar right now. I got like battery packs so I can live off the grid. And,
Yeah, that's a good move.
Yeah,
if you can get your house solar, that's a big move. Just fucking, I mean, at a certain point in time, what's the electricity you can get you other than keeping the lights on? What I'm scared of is like all communications are gone. Like, how hard would it be to shut down power? How hard would it be to blow a few satellites up and no one knows shit?
Yeah, that's why like that Starlink, the satellite thing. Thinking about getting that. I have great internet, but
yeah,
just because what if? It's scary.
Yeah, I was in the mountains in Utah and Starlink, and it was great. It works everywhere. But people keep thinking it's UFOs.
Oh yeah.
People keep filming it, flying. What is that?
Yeah, the dots in the air.
But like I was telling you the other day, I'm sitting at home, like wondering about the fate of the world. Are we literally going to be in a fucking madness? Because you don't think anything's going to go bad until it goes bad. You remember the day before 9/11? It was just fucking normal America, yay. And then the next day, chaos. And then everyone's riding around with an American flag. Like anything can happen. And if anything does happen, like how much is the world going to change? I mean, like, if you think about any sort of like
Pause that right there, the precept on that. He's saying, we get Matthew 24 and 38. He's saying, you don't think anything can happen until something happens, right? Matthew 24 and 38. And then once it happens, one day, the day before 9/11, everyone was living it up, going to bars, going to clubs, just like they were in Israel at a rave, partying 24 hours, all night. The only way you can party all night, 24 hours straight, is drugs. You have to have ecstasy, cocaine, methamphetamines to be partying when the sun come up and dancing and raving all night. They're out there getting high, having a good time. And next thing you know, I'm gonna call them the Taliban, but Hamas, the Taliban Jr. hopping out the sky with hang gliders, man, and choppers. It's real. They didn't see any of that coming. Who saw hang gliders coming? Like, I'm gonna have to pull the preset for that one too. I'm gonna go ahead and read this one real quick. the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 38. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying. So like eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. Like they were living it up right until the day that Noah entered into the ark. They didn't see this great destruction coming to them. And this, the whole Matthew, the 24th chapter, is describing the last days and breaking down what's going to happen before Christ returns. And that's how it's going to be. People are going to still enjoy themselves. Like I just saw a clip yesterday, some cats marching for women and domestic violence. And these brothers, black men, along with Edomites, are marching down the street wearing red pumps. I even heard that word since the 90s. So a lot here. Early 2000s. A Negro ain't even had to use the word pumps since the 90s. These Negroes are running around in red pumps, heels. Youngsters probably don't even know what that is. They're running around in heels to say they're going to walk a mile in women's shoes. They took something figurative and made it literal for what? For attention? Is that really going to stop domestic violence? Them wearing heels is going to stop somebody from beating a woman? No, it's not. The only thing that's going to stop brothers from behaving like that are these laws, statutes, and commandments for the Most High. Oh man, we got our troll back. All right. Okay, you kind of going along with it. You ain't gonna troll today, huh? Let's see. You got any questions? Though, go ahead, type it in. Hey, it is what it is. But that's the truth right there. That's in the book of Proverbs. That's the Bible. It's better for a man to live on a rooftop than with a rebellious woman, right? But anyway, that's how we're World War III is at our doorsteps, and the black men in this country are running around. Some black men are running around wearing pumps. Nadazar said something similar. He said, World War III is everyone's getting prepared for World War III, and we're getting prepared for Halloween. That's the mind state of America. I'll read it one more time. The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 38. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark. All right. That's how we're going to be living. Shalom, Yahweh Shalom, with a thug, young man, right? Let's keep going. We're going to play this Joe Rogan some more.
Big natural disaster that is
Back up.
day before 9/11, it was just fucking normal America. Yay. And then the next day, chaos. And then everyone's riding around with an American flag. Like anything can happen. And if anything does happen, like how much is the world going to change? I mean, like, if you think about any sort of like horrific natural disaster that has hit humanity since the beginning of time, whether it's super volcanoes or earthquakes or any of these chaotic things, when those things happen, when the Mongols roll into your town, when Nazi Germany starts taking over Europe, like, fuck, we want to think that can't happen, but 100% that can happen.
Now, it is double a hand. You understand? For at least being a little bit humble and having a little bit of humility, because the oppressor is running around like nothing can happen. That's the spirit of the average devil. But he has a little bit of wisdom and understanding to step out of himself and see that it can happen. And we in the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yohana have been teaching since 1969 that it can and will happen. It's not an if and maybe or a but. World War III is coming. The third woe cometh quickly. And just like you think everything is fine and dandy, you're partying, you're marrying. Like marriage, that's a very important reason why Christ chose to say marrying. Somebody that's going to get married is doing what? What are they doing when they're going to get married? They have plans for the future. People don't get married unless it's some weird movie. People don't get married when they're dying on their deathbed. Oh, I want to marry somebody. Who does that? Who says, okay, let's go down to the courthouse. Let's go and call the pastor up. We can get married before I die. Everyone knows that marriage contract is over when someone dies. What's the purpose? You don't go get married because you're planning to die the next day or the next week. You're going to get married because you have long-term plans. That's what they were doing. They had long-term plans. And the next day the flood came, destroyed the entire earth with water, 40 days and 40 nights. All right, let's keep going.
It's alone at night. What am I? That's the thing that freaks me out the most. The things that freaks me out the most is international conflicts between superpowers and how they're willing to kill a certain amount of people, right? So like what's that number where they won't cross that line? Because if you've got groups of people that are willing to shoot missiles into apartment buildings and fly jets down and gun people down, and you've seen all those crazy drones, if we're willing to kill a certain amount of people, what's the line where they won't cross? What's the line? Is it 1 million people? Is it a nuclear bomb? You know, what is the line?
Okay. See, that other devil kept it 1,000 too, right there. He's saying, what is the line? Where is it going to stop at? You know, what will cause them to stop if it's an international conflict? And so we'll see. We'll go to World War I. World War I didn't stop at 1 million. How many casualties were in World War I? The total number of military and civilian casualties in World War I was around 40 million people. There were 20 million deaths and 20 million wounded. The total number of deaths include 9.7 million military personnel and about 10 million civilians. So they're saying out of the 40 million, 20 million were dead and 21 million were casualties, all right? Let's go to World War II. What was World War II's death total? World War II was the largest and most violent military conflict in human history. Official casualty sources estimate battle deaths at nearly 15 million military personnel and civilian deaths at over 38 million. Good night. How many? Yeah, I'm mad. Let me see. 48 plus that's what? 53 million people. And I've heard, so maybe they combine the two. So here it says 50 to 56 million deaths. And that doesn't even talk about casualties. So here, go down a little bit further. It says World War II casualties. Estimates suggest that some 75 million people died in World War II, including 20 million military personnel and 40 million civilians. So that sounds about right. So in the span of what, 20 years? When did World War I end? World War I end. It ended in 1918, almost 1990. 1919, Salaki, right? When did World War II start? 20, 25 years? Yeah, 1940, basically. So in 20 years, not only did they lose some 20 million in the first one, then you fast forward, another 80 million people died in the second one. 100 million people died within 25, 30 years tops. This third woe is going to be bigger and greater than this. And this is what Joe Rogan is freaking out about. He's thinking 1 million people, 2 million people is something heavy, something major.
And when you think about how much people loved America after 9/11, the whole world was like on America's side.
Right.
And how much we fucked that up in 23 years, 22 years. Fuck that up. Fuck that up. A million innocent people died because of the Iraq War. Yeah, fuck that. Everybody knows that.
We get a 9/12 immediately.
We probably are due. It's scary when this Israel thing. It scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It scares the shit out of me.
Right.
Because when I see something like that happen, you know, it's like there's no clear way this resolves peacefully. Like this is bad. This is real bad. And Israel's going to go into Palestine and they're bombing and so. Is there a retaliation for that, and what happens then? What other countries get involved? Fuck, man. It's just puts into perspective that there's some shit going on that you're not thinking about because it's not in your life. So if you're a guy, let's say us, because we're comedians, so we're hanging out at the comedy club, we're doing podcasts.
A couple more minutes, yeah.
That's our world. Our world is fucking around with people. Our world's telling jokes. Our world is hanging out with our friends and doing shows.
Right.
Their world is killing people. Their world is controlling resources, and it's not. They don't play fair. Like they release stories that aren't true. They use disinformation to switch narratives. They have social media posts that aren't real, so they can get people riled up about certain things. And then they're also coordinating military attacks. That's their world. We just don't think about that world because we're not in that world.
Yeah, you don't think like that because you don't live the life of a soldier. We in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we live the life of a soldier and we prepare because we know life is about warfare. He gets to live the life of a civilian and not worry about things like this. But now it's coming to his door. He's looking over the fence and saying, okay, the decisions that these people are making, they're making propaganda, they're making fake news, they're over here swaying this and that. It can turn around and affect me and my life and my family. And that's exactly what's going to happen. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. And this is what they're going to have to deal with. The people that enriched their life, that allowed Joe Rogan to make $100 million, allowed him to become this famous person and live nice and travel the world. These same very people are very greedy. They're extremely greedy. They're extremely selfish. And they extremely lack empathy for anything and everything, including their own people. The only reason why they put their people first before us is because their people will help them get in a better situation. But they don't give a damn about anybody. They're on a suicide mission and they're crashing planet Earth into the dirt. And it's a glorious thing. And Barak Atah Yahweh Yahweh Shai, because this is going to allow Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians finally be able to get free from the oppression that we have been in under these very same people that he's talking about. So it's his fear, his anxiety, it encourages me. It strengthens me. It makes my day better that someone with $100 million feels like you feel every first of the month if you don't know you're going to be able to pay your rent. His anxiety about people dying and his family members dying is how you feel every goddamn day in the ghetto when there's a shooting, when there's a carjacking, when there's a robbery, when there's a kickdown, when the police shoot you down. You feel like this every day for the past 400 years, really for 1,000 years, and this is how he feels. It's just because he's got the internet. He's starting to understand what's going on in the world. He may have saw us in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, and said we were crazy for saying the things that we're saying. And now we're seeing the truth of what we've been teaching here in the UPK. Let's keep going, man.
In that world, since the beginning of time, what they've done with us is they've sheltered us in such a way and then censored all the mainstream media in such a way that they completely control the narrative of how you think about what can and cannot happen in the world and why these things happen. And we're seeing that right now. We're seeing that like in your face, where you're like, what? And you're also seeing people with massive amounts of conspiracies now, right? And whenever something,
We ain't gonna go through that. That's the main part I wanted to play. It's just his shock and awe. Somebody with $100 million shouldn't have a care in the world, according to the American dream. The American dream is to make a SHT load of money, SHIT load of money, and ride off into the sunset. He's doing that. He's done that. $100 million. And I'm sure he has more than that right now. What can he possibly worry about? Why is he up at night paranoid? You know why? Because there is a God that's greater than his $100 million. And once you start to understand that, Black man, Latino man, then you will start to fear the right thing. And you will start to lack fear for all of the wrong things. You won't have fear for World War III. You won't have fear for Hamas. You won't have fear for the Israeli army. You won't have fear for the American government and their military. You won't have fear for any man. The only thing you should fear and will fear is the Father. That's it. That's all. After that, what is there to worry about? But they don't have a God to call to in that day. The God that they would try to call to, because that's what they're going to do. When that day comes, they're going to call out to God. People that said they were atheists, people that said they didn't believe in God, people that said that, you know, they were agnostic or they were spiritual, or this Bible doesn't exist. These people are going to call out to our God and our power and not realizing he's the one that is coming to destroy them. The very God that they're going to try to reach out to is going to be the one that's smiting them. All right? And then you don't want to be a part of that. You don't want to be a victim of the wrath of the Most High God. You want him to use his wrath for you, not against you. Let's go to these precepts. Drop that. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 32. Where is it? Ezekiel 20, verse 32. And it reads, and that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, will we be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. You hit it one more time. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, will we be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. Verse 33, as I live, said the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. In these days, we're not going to follow wood and stone anymore. We're not going to worship the gods of these heathens that we have done for so long, that got us into this very situation. And that day we will turn back to our power, and the Lord will do what? Verse 34, and I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. This fury is going to be poured out on the entire world, on all of these nations. He has been building a great movie. This is better than the Avengers. Thanos and the whole, I forget the name, but you know what I mean? The movie, the Avengers, the Apocalypse, whatever version they had, where they thought it was the end of the world. And Thanos just snapped his finger and destroyed the whole world. It's bigger than that. It's greater than that. The Lord has been building this story up of good versus evil, and we're getting down to the final battle. Verse 35. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there I will plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So I will plead with you, saith the Lord God. All right. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. As for you, our house Israel, thus saith the Lord God, go ye, serve ye every one his idols, and hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name, no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in mine holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, saith the Lord God, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things. See, this is another key precept that shows these people that are living in the land are not the children of Israel, because they're not in the land worshiping the Most High God. Everyone in the land is supposed to be following the Lord, and everyone that is not is supposed to get purged out and not released into the land. They're over there having LGBT parades. They're over there worshiping rainbow Judaism. That's what they're doing over there. They're doing all manner of wickedness. They are not the Lord's chosen people. They do not fit any of these prophecies. They do, okay, let me take that back. They don't fit any prophecies as being the Lord's chosen people, but they fit the prophecies perfectly of the people that will be destroyed in the land. The time of the Gentiles has to be fulfilled, man, when they will be in the land living as we're supposed to be. All right, that is a prophecy. Let's get Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 20. Isaiah 26 and 20. Man, I almost want to play Joe Rogan one more time, man. Might play that every morning when I wake up in the morning. That was almost as good as white tears. White tears are delicious. I could eat cereal. Give me a bowl of Frosted Flakes full of white tears. Get this water, this Crystal Geyser is not as good as white tears. This is what we're getting to see here today in Gaza, in Israel. We get to see these same oppressors cry just a little bit, like how we have cried for years and years and years. And so to hear Joe Rogan in fear, anxiety, with $100 million, that encourages me. It's almost as good as white tears. It's nigh unto it. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 20. And it reads, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as if it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. This is what's going to happen. The Lord is telling the righteous to come and hide and get in shelter, just like you would run to a bomb shelter. That's what we're going to need to be. We're going to need to be in that sanctuary, in that place where we are safe from the things that are about to occur. No manner of dollars, no manner of water. You can save up, store up, preparation. None of that is going to save you in the days that we're heading towards. You're going to have to be like everyone else, humble yourself and cry unto the Lord and ask for help and salvation. Are you going to be worthy in that day for salvation? You seeing World War III popping off, and what are you worried about? Some females twerking on TikTok? Is that what you're spending your time in preparation for the last days? Noah's outside building the ark. You at the belly dancing club. I know they had some type of club back then. They didn't have no strip club. They had some type of club where whores were at, dancing with their belly out, you know, basically twerking in the days of Noah. Is that where you were at? Or were you with Noah, putting your brick in, putting your work in, hammering on that boat, seeing what's coming, getting prepared for that day? That's what we're doing here in the UPK. We're building that boat. We're building that ark to save our brothers and sisters and save ourselves in the day of this flood that's to come. And the Lord is showing us how to do it. Once more again, the book of Isaiah 26:20. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. Verse 21. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. Like, one thing about Joe Rogan, now he's in this interview and he's talking about his fear of what's to come and how horrible it would be to see all these things. But one thing that still shows him to be a devil like every one of his other counterparts is none of them feel responsible, culpable, or deserving of these adverse effects. They don't feel deserving of this treatment to themselves. They don't think that there could be anything that they have done themselves that they are complicit or they are part of the problem. And this is why this is happening to them. You can't be the criminal and the victim. You don't get to be that in this movie, Joe Rogan. You're going to have to figure out who you are. You are reaping what you have sown, Mr. Oppressor. Everything that you've put out, everything that you have been a part of, the things that have enriched you have been at the destruction of the Lord's chosen people. You wouldn't be able to enjoy your life unless God's chosen people were destroyed. And so guess what? Don't be sad when it's your turn. Don't be sad when we're not the only ones out here dying anymore. You're going to have to take that pride down a little bit and say, you know what? That brother that has to walk down the green mile, as they say, knowing in your mind you killed 3 people, took them away from their family. The brother may not want to go down that green mile, doesn't want to get put to death, but something in his spirit you can tell that he knows this is justice. I deserve this. I've extended my time on here because it's hard to get put to death on death row. You might be on death row 10, 15, 20, 25 years. You could have gotten killed the next day for what you did to that family. And you got to live it up, oppressor. You went way past your time. So now that it's coming, the chickens are coming home to roost. Don't get too distraught. You should expect this. You should expect World War III and destruction to come at your door because that's all you have meted out to the planet Earth. You are now going to reap everything you sow, right? Let's go to the next precept, Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. Shalom, Yahweh Shalom, Adam Bashim Shai, to the sister Isa Rock. Azarah. Joel chapter 3, I think we started first. Might go up a few verses. Let's start at verse 1. The book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days, and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. The Lord said he's going to bring again the captivity. He's going to bring us out of our captivity, deliver us from our slavery. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel. And this is just so beautiful and glorious that the Lord is saying that he's going to plead for his nation and his people, but also that land. This is the land that's being fought over. He's asking, or not asking, he's demanding that that land be returned to his people. And when you go into the Hebrew and you see what this word plead means, it really means judgment. He's going to give judgment to them for his people. All right. Let's keep going. And as Commander Juliana was bringing out on Black Watch in the class he had yesterday, the valley of Jehoshaphat is in southern Israel. It's in the exact place where Gaza and this war is sparking up at. So it says that's where he's going to bring all these nations and will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. The land has been parted up. It's been divided up between these heathens. It's not been divided up between the children of Israel. We've been scattered. We've been pushed out of the land. So what prophecy are these cats living there fulfilling? Verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Like they sell us to benefit their lives. They sold your son to the penitentiary so that they can go buy prostitutes. You understand? So they can go get high. It says, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. They sold a woman for drugs to get high with. Verse 4, let's see. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. 6, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. The things that you have done, we're going to return those things to you. You're going to have to get paid back everything you've given us. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off. For Yahweh has spoken it. You're going to get sold the same way we were sold. Your children are going to get taken from you the same way we were taken. Verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of the earth draw near. Let them come up. This is what the Lord is saying, man. Tell all the Gentiles. Tell the Iranians. Tell the Saudi Arabians. Tell the East Indians, the Pakistani, the Chinese, the Russians, the Yugoslavians, every race, the Africans, Nigerians, every Rwandans, Ghanaians, South Africans, all of you, get ready for this world war. BRICS, You get ready for this world war. Libya, get ready for this world war. Italy, get ready for this world war. Everyone get ready, prepare war, because that's what's coming, all right? Let's drop that. Let's go to Joel chapter 2, verse 1. We're going to go back. And then let's see, I'm going to put some information back in. So, the book of Joel chapter 2 and verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, and nothing shall escape them. This is, you know what I mean? This is destruction. Come in a day of darkness and gloominess. I got another precept as well. So about that darkness and gloominess. But I'll give a little bit of update on the history, what's going on in Gaza. People don't know, a quick recap. Let's see if we can recap. Take it all the way back. How did these people get into our land? What happened? 30 so years after Christ, our King, died, was crucified, rose again and left, was carried on a cloud, right? Chariots, and left. Went to sit at the right hand of the Father. About 30 so years after that, there was a lot of revolution and, you know, talks of insurrection against the Roman Empire in the land of Israel. Around 66 BCE, around 66 AD, right? After the death of Christ. The war sprung out in Israel. And the Israelites went to war with Romans, and it was a bloody, horrendous battle, as many would assume. Somehow the Israelites were able to win that war, conquer them, beat them, and get them off the land. They went back, regrouped, came back with different generals to lead them. I think the first one that came in was Vespasian. Then he came back with his son Titus in 70 AD. You look up 70 AD online, YouTube's plenty of movies out there, documentaries to talk about it. You'll see how they came in and destroyed Jerusalem, destroyed Judea, our homeland. And they said they put over 1 million of our people to slaughter. And out of that 1 million, there was another 1 million or so that fled into Egypt and fled into Africa, went south, went west into Africa. That's where the Negroes in America, the West Indians in America, and the Caribbean come from. It was our people fleeing ancient Egypt and going down into Africa. The other Israelites were brought up to Rome and sold off into slavery. That's what they did with us. So after that, 70 AD, you fast forward to about the year 600, 700, 700 years later, these Ashkenazi, the Khazars, converted to our beliefs and start to say they were the Jews. They were Jewish people. And they went into Europe, Germany, Poland, France, Russia, all over. And we're living a life saying they were Israelites. You fast forward a little bit further, we go into captivity. They stay in Europe. 1930s, the mid 30s, You get Adolf Hitler that rises up and wants to get rid of these Jews in his land. He wants to make a pure Aryan race of people and reunite Europeans or Aryans and bring about the rebirth of the Roman Empire. This is what Adolf Hitler wanted to do. He started to murder millions of Jews, allegedly. Some people say it's 6 million, some people say it's 2 million. Who knows the exact number, but he unalived a large amount of Jewish people. And so they had the story of being persecuted wherever they've gone, and they play the victim wherever they go. No one wants to say that they're sneaky, conniving, backstabbing people that are greedy and treat everyone else that's not a Jewish person like a heathen and a goyim and tries to destroy whoever's in the way of them. And so this is why they face persecution everywhere they go. But hey, Hitler did that. They said in order to get them a place where they could be free from persecution, they put them in their original homeland, quote unquote, which is the land of Israel, which is something that's so evil for this nation of people in America who don't follow the Bible. Like Jeremiah was saying earlier today, there's supposed to be a separation between church and state. The government's not supposed to base its rules and decisions off of any spiritual belief. But somehow the United Nations and everyone in the world gets behind giving the land of Israel to this nation of people based off the Bible. It's supposed to be a fairy tale book. It's supposed to be something that's not real, but somehow they use this book in order to gain this very important real estate on planet Earth. So 1948 happens. The people that were living in the land were Muslims, were Arabs, Palestinians. They had been there since we left, living in our land, going to and fro in the land of Israel. These fake small hats came in, pushed them down, pushed them out of the main parts of Israel, left them with an area called the Gaza Strip, small land, right? You fast forward, go ahead and present this on the page. See if this comes up for everybody out there. The Gaza Strip. You can look up the blockade of the Gaza Strip. I'll go ahead and read a little bit about it. Temporarily in 2005 to 2006, and indefinitely in 2007, Israel and Egypt have imposed land, air, and sea blockade on the Gaza Strip, following Israel's disengagement from the region. The blockade has been decried by human rights groups, international community representatives, and legal professionals as a form of collective punishment in contravention of international law, specifically the Fourth Geneva Convention. So they're at war with this specific group, but why are they locking up everyone that's a civilian? They're saying because the Palestinians voted in this group called Hamas to be in charge of Palestine, that everyone in Palestine deserves to be punished until Hamas is eradicated. Do you know what that's like? That's like if you have democracy, all you need is 51% of the votes to win. If you get 51% of the votes, that means 49% of the people disagree with you. Just because Hamas won majority vote doesn't mean everyone in Palestine agrees with Hamas. You could have 50% of the population that disagrees. And in reality, I was listening to someone on the radio last night that knows the history of what's going on over there. He said when they had the elections, there were multiple groups of people. There were multiple people trying to get elected under the same ticket. So I'll say it like this. This is what they say. This is why in America they want to pick one person to represent the Democratic Party at the Democratic National Convention and one person to represent the Republican Party in the National Convention when going for the president. Because if you have two Republicans running, you're going to split the votes. And half of the Republican Party may vote for this person, half of the Republican Party votes for this person, and their vote is less, and the Democrat gets a guaranteed win. That's what happened in Palestine. They had one person that was voting, running, that was on the old government side. You had another person. You had 2, 3 people running for their standard government that Israel didn't have a problem with. But you had one person over here going for Hamas. All he needed was 1/3 of the votes, because the rest of the votes were divided up against people that couldn't get along and agree. So in reality, it's not even, can't even say the majority of the people went for Hamas. It might even be a small minority, but since they weren't united, this is what we got, right? This is what they got. Okay, the blockade was made permanent after Hamas took control of the Gaza Strip during the Battle of Gaza, seizing government institutions and replacing Fatah and other Palestinian Authority officials with Hamas members. Earlier, after Hamas won elections and formed the PA government in March 2006, led by Ismail Haniyeh. Okay, so basically, this picture and this image over here shows how they're blocked off. Basically, a border all across the back end, parallel to the water, where they cannot leave out that way. The bottom is Egypt. They cannot leave out to Egypt. And the top, they can't go into the other parts of Israel. They try to leave on water, their boats get shut down. They try to fly out in the air, their airplanes get shut down. They've been living like this since 2007. They've been living like this since Soulja Boy was doing the Superman in Eula. That's how long they've been living in this one spot of land, not being able to leave. Can you imagine how that is? That is literally like being locked up, being in the penitentiary. But it's not just you doing it, it's your entire family, men, women, children, babies, everyone's being born in this open air prison. So what do you expect them to do? What do they expect them to do? They're trying to get out of there. They're trying to have some type of freedom. And your oppressor in his mind, he thinks he can control everything, do everything, not realizing that these cats are willing to do anything to be free. They willing to hop up on a hang glider and get up out of there. All right, we're gonna get back to the precepts. Let me see if I can find that. Has anybody seen that? I just heard about this today. I did not know they were doing that to get to Israel. Let's see. This is ridiculous. They paraglided into Israel with choppers. Only the Lord could put something in somebody's mind to even think of something like this, and that's in the Bible, man. Let's see, share this. Hamas has appeared to have used motor-powered hang gliders to infiltrate Israel. Then paragliding into Israel's settlement. They didn't hop on a forerunner, got a parachute, flew up over the wall, landed down with choppers, and got active, man. If that ain't dedication to the cause, man, if that ain't dedication to your people and your nation, then I don't know what else is. These cats are tired of being slaves to these heathens, man. Good night. But that just shows you How your oppressor thinks he's thought of everything. He thinks he's planned everything, and he hasn't thought of everything. He doesn't have the mind of the Lord. Let me get that reset real quick. We go back to the World War III. Isaiah 55:8. The book of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Ooh, one more precept after that. Like you didn't think of none of this. You didn't even they couldn't prepare for this, man. So like, go ahead. That's because Isaiah 54:16, right around the corner. Right? Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. And it reads, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. The Lord has created the smith and the blower that blows the coals, man. He put it in their minds to think of something like this. He created the waster for the day to destroy. And those heathens weren't able to come up with this. The Lord's putting a spirit on them to think of a hang glider over the wall, man. And yeah, man, who knows? There's gonna be some other things they're not gonna see coming. There's gonna be some other things they didn't account for. See, you've been here in America, you've been so brainwashed and destroyed that you think your oppressor is God. You talk to a group of black people about fighting against the oppressor. You talk to a group of Latino people, Native American people about fighting against the oppressor. Man, ain't nothing we can do. Anything they do, they gonna catch you. They gonna get you. They. How about you not worry about that and you fight for your freedom, regardless of the consequences? That's what these other nations have. Until we get to that point, you understand, we're gonna stay in this situation. But they are out there. And I'm not telling people to go out pick up guns. Don't misunderstand that. I'm saying we have to have that same zeal and love for our people that we're willing to do any and everything to gain our freedom. If that means dying, so be it. But we can't even get to that point because we won't even agree that we need to fight back first to even get to that point. We already threw in the towel. We believe there is no defeating him. They don't have that same mindset over there. They're gonna figure it out. When they say I'd rather die than be a slave, then they're showing that. And we have to be willing to live like that for our people in a righteous way. We have to be willing to give up everything that we have and throw it all on the line so that our people can be free. And if they're gonna hang glide over a wall, we're gonna spiritually hang glide over that wall. We're gonna spiritually, go and ride on these people who are enemies of our people. All right. Let's drop that. I got a few more precepts. I won't hold it too long. We'll run through these. 2 and 1. Matthew 24:6. Know that. Let's go to. It would be Matthew 24:6. So you can only move 3 ways on planet Earth to see destruction. The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6. We'll start at verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahweh shall answer and say unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. It's not a time to be freaking out. It's not a time to be worried. It's a time to rejoice because we know the end is coming. And we're not with these people in the world. We're in the world, but we're not of the world. These are all the things that the Gentiles should worry about and have to worry about. All right. Let's keep going. Verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. That's what's going to happen. Nation against nation, race on race, race wars, kingdom against kingdom, government, world war. And there shall be famines, nuclear fallout. That's why when the last precept, I think in Joel, when it talked about darkness, what is it? Definition of nuclear winter. What is nuclear winter? Nuclear winter is the term for a theory describing the climatic effects of nuclear war. Smoke from the fires started by nuclear weapons, especially the black city smoke from the cities and industrial facilities, would be heated by the sun, lofted into the upper stratosphere, and spread globally, lasting for years. So these clouds of smoke would rise up and blot out the sun, basically. And it would cause the whole world to like freeze over because there would be no sun. Let's see. Anything else on that I can find right now? But basically, what we just read in Joel perfectly describes a nuclear winter. I definitely wanted to say that while reading this. The book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 2. A day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong. There have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after, even to the years of many generations. That's what we're going to experience. These people that were like America will not rise up again. There'll never be another America after this world war, right? Isaiah chapter 13, verse 4. Verses. I think we'll close out on that. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 4. And it reads, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustering the hosts of the battle. All these different kingdoms, nations gathered together. That's World War III. Gab, the Lord of hosts, gathered the host of the battle. Verse 5. Verse 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Just talk about this. That's what's coming. That's what's going to happen. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Let me see if I can get something else to play real quick. Let's go to YouTube. I watched an interesting video that described what life would be like. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. See if this is going on. Let's see what it says right here. What follows is a depiction of how a conflict between Russia and the United States could escalate to a nuclear war, basically. The simulation begins in the context of a conventional conflict in hopes of halting a U.S. NATO advance. Russia launches a nuclear war missile, I guess. Let's see. Is this the one I watched before? This might not be the good one. No, this ain't a good one. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. We'll start minute by minute. This one.
What's up, guys? Devil Dog Gamer here. Today we're showing off a new game called Nuclear War Simulator. Now, this isn't fan this a bit more. As you can see, now
This ain't
actually
it
play
either.
out.
I'd have to find that clip. I won't waste so much time on this. But there's a simulation where it shows how all these bombs start going off, how fast it happens, a play by play, and Maybe this is. I might find it, right. But that just came to my mind, man. I watched this thing. It started explaining. Try one more. No. All right, there you go. I think this is it. This is what it looks like. Yeah, this is the one.
What you are about to see is a nuclear war simulation based on data collected and processed from the International Atomic Energy Agency, the United Nations, information publicly available from the Central Intelligence Agency, and other declassified sources. The purpose of this simulation is to provide a visualization of the global consequences of a nuclear war between the Russian Federation and state members of NATO. Even though simplified to a great degree, it shows in a clear and realistic way the outcome of a nuclear war. Based on recent geopolitical events, the software used on this simulation has considered Russia to be most likely to begin a nuclear war. Time is accelerated to simplify the viewing of the events, and they are divided into 3 stages: nuclear war, nuclear fallout, and nuclear winter. Simulation ready.
Fallout.
Declassified mode activated. For context, population of nations engaged at war. NATO member states have 944 million people. The Russian Federation has 145 million people.
So they say the United States and all the nations in NATO is 940 million people. Russia is 145 million people.
Stage 1, nuclear war.
Nuclear war.
Elapsed time, 1 hour.
1 hour. So them things, is bombs going up. You gotta watch the casualty. It happened quickly. See, that's how they say the Third Woe coming quickly. They went from a regular war, right? No time.
Elapsed time.
Boom. 1, 2 bombs popped off. So they hit the first bomb, looked like it hit New York. The second bomb hit the Bay Area, California, LA, Bay Area, somewhere in California. Between that first bomb hit New York, America dropped a bomb in Russia. That's the other dot over here. And then dropped another one over here. All right?
Time.
And so in not even an hour, 5 million people just died right there. Bam. All right?
1 hour.
Then they dropped more bombs in Canada, over here in the middle, American Midwest type. Now with all these bombs in Europe, the Russians are going to war with Europe. They hit in Spain. You understand? France. All this is getting close to home in Europe. So they going back and forth. Boom. Hitting Russia over here. Drop something over here. All right. Boom. There's only 1 hour, 7 million people dead. Boom. 12 million people dead. They hit Alaska. They hit over here, hit over there.
2 hours.
The Bay Area again. Now they hit the Midwest. Now they hitting down south. All these nuclear bombs are going off in 2 hours.
3 hours. 4 hours.
4 hours. A long movie. And 50 million people have died. All Europe is getting bombarded. They're taking themselves out. They're taking the devil out. The oppressor is going to get removed from his position of power. They're not hitting over here in Africa. They're not hitting over here in Australia and India, over here in South America. The people that are going to be going to war with each other are the people that have been enslaving us, man. Esau, the children of Edom. Let's keep going.
5 hours.
It's going to affect everybody, though.
6
They're going
hours.
to take themselves out.
7 hours.
So now you're seeing all this Russia is getting hit. All of Europe is getting hit. America getting hits.
8
Canada
hours.
getting hits.
9 hours.
9 hours. We had 10 hours. 103 million people dead.
10 hours. 11 hours.
You could literally go to sleep and wake up. 8 hours. You wake up to 120 million people dead.
12 hours. 13 hours.
Bombs is going off.
14
The
hours.
biggest bombs you've ever seen in your life.
15 hours. 16
Going back
hours.
and forth. All this is
17
being
hours.
described in the Bible.
18 hours.
More minutes, couple more minutes.
19
All
hours.
that put out, not to stop.
20 hours. 21 hours.
165 minutes.
22 hours.
It's not even been
23
24
hours.
in 1 day.
24 hours.
200
Total
million
global
people.
casualties at 178 million people. Losses of nations engaged at war. NATO member states have lost 9.1% of their total population. The Russian Federation has lost 62.9% of its total population. Stage 2, nuclear fallout.
Fallout.
Elapsed
Stage
time,
2.
3 days. 6
People
days.
still dying.
9 days.
The smoke
12 days.
suffocating people.
15 days.
2 weeks.
18
The number's
days.
still going up by the million.
21 days. 24
This
days.
is what we're hearing about in the
27
Bible.
days. 30 days. Maximum radiation levels recorded, shown by degrees of latitude, in rem units. Total global casualties at 186 million people. Stage 3, nuclear winter.
Nuclear winter.
Elapsed time,
After 1 month.
2 months.
2
3
months.
months.
It doubled up to 300.
4 months.
3 months. 4 months.
5
People
months.
dying. When you don't have the sun is blotted out. What are you going to have? No one's going to be able to grow any crops. The food's already going to be poisoned. The water's going to be poisoned. So this is where all this is coming from, famine. The earth is going to be cold because the sun is blotted out. All of that is going to happen because there's going to be so much smoke. And you know this is true because we've seen the fires, the wildfires in California change the whole Bay Area red, sky red, for something that's 300 miles away, 400 miles away. Can you imagine thousands of nuclear bombs going on across the entire globe? How much smoke there will be in the air? And this smoke is poisonous, radiation-filled smoke. 5 months later, the number has grown to almost
6 months.
6 months, 400
7
million
months. 8 months.
7 months, 500 million
9
people.
months.
We're getting close to
10
a
months.
billion people.
Minimum
This
temperature
World War III is
recorded,
gonna
shown
be
by
something
degrees
that
of latitude, in
completely
Celsius degrees. Total
on another
global
level
casualties
from
at
World War I.
548 million people. End of the simulation. Stand by. Conclusions.
So after that,
During the stage of nuclear war, only the engaged nations were affected directly, and casualties were limited to military facilities and cities targeted as part of tactical and retaliatory attacks. On this first stage, we saw the highest number of deaths in the shortest amount of time. During the stage of nuclear fallout, irradiated material in the form of dust was carried by wind currents to every corner of the planet, causing deaths related to radiation sickness and setting the stage for a nuclear winter. Deaths in this period increased relatively slowly.
right, so in a little fallout, in those months, the deaths were slow because the radiation is spreading all over the globe, but it wasn't that great. Then when you get
During
to
the
that
stage
winter,
of nuclear winter, the presence
the
of dust
dust
in the atmosphere dropped temperatures worldwide, causing mass deaths of plants, animals, and people.
deaths of plants, animals, and people who could not adapt. Mass famine during this period resulted in the largest amounts of deaths for the entire nuclear conflict. The reason why everybody else is going to die is because of starvation. All these millions and millions of people are going to die because
Who could
they don't
not
have
adapt.
any food.
Mass famine during this period resulted in the largest amounts of deaths for the entire nuclear conflict. The conclusion of this simulation is that no country on Earth will be safe.
So that's it on that. We'll X that out. But good night, man. In that day, it's not going to be nothing you can do when all this is going on to really prepare and try to save yourself in that day, man. You're going to have to be brought to that wilderness like we read earlier tonight. Christ's going to have to take you out of this because amongst all that, then it's going to turn into Mad Max. After 500 million people, all the governments, all the world, the buildings destroyed, people going to be running around like the wild, wild west, killing, robbing, raping, stealing, everything is going to be going on. But we're going to see, after that, Christ turn and put this thing right, man, put this earth back to how it's supposed to be, man. With niggas and Latino brothers, like I know we ain't supposed to use the word from me, but Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians rule shit, right? Let's see. Anything else? I think that's it for right now. If we got any more precepts, we'll see next time on next week on World War III coming to a hood near you, coming to a country near you. That's what we're living in right now, man. The beginnings of the beginning of the end. Matter of fact, I'll leave on that note. And it says it in that simulation. The main places that are going to be hit first are going to be the nations involved in this war. And this is Europe, it's China, it's Russia. The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, and verse 9. And it reads, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." And that's deep, showing all those European nations get destroyed. But really, where the Israelites is at, Caribbean, South America, a lot of those places, it's not where these bombs going to be going off. So, who's going to come out of that dust? It's going to be niggas, man. And they're going to be, taking back their rightful rulership over planet Earth because our oppressor will have destroyed himself. And the ones that are left in the aftermath, we're going to put them in chains and we're going to bring them to their captivity. We're going to put them in their place. We're going to bring them back to our land. Matter of fact, let me give some light at the end of this beautiful nuclear tunnel. Some light at the end of this beautiful nuclear tunnel. In Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel." That hit different when you think about a nuclear bomb. Nuclear bombs, thousands of them going off. It says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob." He will have mercy on us in that day, and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. Ooh-wee. That's a beautiful precept. It's a beautiful precept, and putting it in context, seeing how it's going to fall out, just seeing that simulation and understanding that there's not going to be too much left of them. And the ones that left over, we taking them. They don't have the power to oppress us anymore. They're not going to have the power to stop and frisk us anymore. Put us in prison for nothing. Frame us. Push dope in our community. They don't have the power to do that anymore. They're going to be powerless. We're going to go into those countries. We're going to go into those lands. We're going to take the heathens out of there. Take them to our own land. Put them in chains. And they will become servants and handmaids for the Lord's chosen people. With that, I would say, Kwam Yashala. Kwam Yashala. You understand? Rise, Israel. Let's get right. Let's do what we need to do. Get prepared. Become better. Get tighter as a family. You understand? Unite. Hearing the truth. And get ready, man. This is it. With that, I'll say, Shalom, Israel. All right.